Hi guys, welcome in Line by Line. And today we have our wonderful Lynn with us. Hi Lynn. Agent and Manuel. We are analyzing a song by Train, Calling All Angels. Lynn, do the honors.
Okay, the lyrics are, I need a sign to let me know you're here. All of these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere. I need to know that things are going to look up because I feel us drowning in a sea spilled from a cup. When there is no place safe and no safe place to put my head, when you feel the world shake from the words that are said. And I'm calling all angels, and I'm calling all you angels, and I won't give up if you don't give up. I need a sign to let me know you're here, because my TV set just keeps it all from being clear. I want a reason for the way things have to be. I need a hand to help build up some kind of hope inside of me. When children have to play inside so they don't disappear, while private eyes solve marriage lies because we don't talk for years, and football teams are kissing queens and losing sight of having dreams, in a world that what we want is only what we want until it's ours.
Wow, excellent reading. And the song is really deep.
Colin, yeah. It's Train, so they were a band formed in 1993 and from California.
Amazing. Why did you pick it, Lynn?
It's been with me for years. It's a song that it like bridges for me faith. So it seems like in our modern world, there's spirituality and love is missing. And so it's like a way to call out for help, to re-enchant or to bring peace, I guess. And it's always brought peace for me in my life. So, and then it was random times it would come on the radio, and it was very, very meaningful to me in those times. It was like a synchronicity thing that has happened in my life. The song would come on the radio and it would be reflecting of the turbulation of my life. So yeah.
I love it. It's a beautiful song. Yo, let's analyze it line by line. Corey, you can read the first stanza.
Okay. I need a sign to let me know you're here. All these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere. I need to know that things are going to look up because I feel us drowning in the sea spilled from a cup.
He's lost, right? He's looking for a sign, a connection outside the thing he's stuck in. he's looking for the more in the world, and I think he's not lost hope, but he's on the edge of losing hope.
When he says all of these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere, I think of the internet. And so I guess in our current age, it's amazing how during COVID and how the internet is working to make connections and intimacy within like connections between me and you three would have never happened without the internet. So I think of technology and modernity and the modern times, and how that brings a sense of helplessness and hopelessness to it.
And that's interesting, like you speak of connection, because it doesn't seem like he's talking about a personal existential crisis. He says, he doesn't say, because I feel I'm drowning in the sea. He says, I feel us drowning in the sea.
Yeah.
So the lines being crossed in the atmosphere. So I see the atmosphere as heaven, and the lines being crossed as the connections being made by the angels.
I thought angels were stars.
Angels are many
Oh.
things.
Oh, so they're not just stars? Well, I
No,
guess stars are in the atmosphere as well.
Could you elaborate what you mean by that metaphor, angels and stars, Lynn?
Oh, it's just something I got from Jonathan Bijot. I never understood it. Perhaps it's a way of looking outside of.
We are all made of stardust, so we are all part angels. It's actually a true story. All of our bodies built from stardust. Oh.
Jordan Peterson talks about stars, where the stars is the thing that you reach for, right? So the angels are also the thing that you reach for. So when you're an ancient person and you look up to the stars, right, like they're the thing that guide you, right? Like they orient you, they tell you what time of year it is, right? Like they give light in the evening, all of that stuff.
It's funny because you said stars, and when we read this line, I thought of galaxies, like the space, like in a sea, but I didn't think of a sea. I thought of space, and spilled from my cup, I thought of like galaxies. That was just the image that came to my mind, and it's totally non-rational whatsoever.
You're not connected to the painting behind.
Maybe, yeah. Subliminal.
Exactly. I actually thought when he said lines being crossed, he said those lines that moral lines that we set up for ourselves, all of them being crossed again and again. Like he notices how the world is kind of changing in front of him, and he is like looking up and asking, can you show a sign? Can you give the divine power? I feel us drowning in a sea spilled from a cup. So it's like a domino effect somehow. That things started from a small thing, and that would lead to another thing, to another thing, to another thing, to another thing. And so a cup started, and then we all got flooded somehow. And that's how I interpret that whole stanza. All of these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that reminds me, like there's a storm in a cup, right, or in a glass, right? So what's a storm in a glass? It's the thing that seems really important, right? But it's only here, right? Like there's the rest. And if we're all looking at the glass, then we're all enthralled by the by the storm in the cup, right? And then in some sense that's leaking into us, right? While we don't have to be affected.
Yeah. So he's losing hope. He's drowning, and I need to know things are gonna look up.
Well, he's
Asking for
lost
help.
faith, definitely. He lost faith, and I think he's losing hope as well.
Yeah. Okay. Who wants to read the next line?
When there's no place safe, and no safe place to put my head. When you feel the world shake from the words that are said. So he's contrasting the physical safety with the emotional safety, right? The place to put your head is a people around you that you can rest in, right? Like you have a way to retreat with them and recover yourself. And then no place safe is in the world, right? Like I can't go to a different country and escape the problem. Like the problem is gonna pursue me, or it's universal.
Lynn?
I think of earthquakes, and well, I can't help but think of, you know, the bombing too, you know, that happens during war. So finding safety of those things that we have no control over. So there's a feeling of terror and of the unknown and terror in our lives, and then it talks about words. So words that are said.
News?
Like
he heard the news, he cannot find anywhere, and even when he's at home, he listens to the radio news, and he's like, oh my god, the news are telling me about how the world is going down. It's like this fear mongering all the time. I don't know, that's what I thought.
So like it's a negative, you know, an evil, it starts with an M. The word starts with an M.
Machiavellian. Machiavellian.
It's that evilness, that of manipulation, I guess. You know, that's not the word. It's another. Malevolence.
Malevolent. Oh, malevolence.
Malevolence. Yes. Malevolence. So like people who use their words in a malevolent way, they're not, there's no sensitivity to the cruelty that happens in the news or in the blue church, as to use a Jordan Hall term.
Does that play into the fact that because I know he's not just repeating the phrase, when there is no safe place, no place safe, and no safe place. Like the safe place reminded me of the safe space. You know, this is a safe space here. I don't know if that maps at all.
Yeah.
Why would he mention that twice in a different order?
Because he looks for a safe place all the time, and like he cannot, and the thing that he finds still unsafe. So like nowhere basically.
And
yeah.
if you connect it to the next line, right? Like I get the sense when the world shakes, right? Like you don't have a grounding, right? Like your foundation isn't stable, and because your foundation isn't stable, right? Like there's no safety, right? Like the place that you go to isn't going to provide safety if your foundation isn't stable, right? And then the words are the thing that's shaking his foundation, right? So he feels attacked by the ideas that he's presented with.
I do feel like there is panic from the news that he receives. I might be projecting, because he found this safe place when the world isn't shaking, but then he listens to the words said, and I guess TV or radio, and then or maybe some other person tells him something bad, then his world shakes. Like everything is overpowering him, like no solid ground. That's why he tries to look up and like give me a sign. What's that? Yeah. Makes me think of Twitter. Like I go on Twitter, nothing positive in there. Except like if you follow something super positive, then yeah.
And I'm calling all angels, and I'm calling all you angels, and I won't give up if you don't give up.
Seems like he did not lost faith. Seems like he's like not giving up, and like angels come, like that's the last thing that I am holding on to.
I think about devotion, devotion to people who are kind and compassionate. And so I guess it would be the bridging of the two fingers in Rome on, is it St. Peter's, that chapel, that them touching together. That's the image that I get.
The chapel on the fresco on the ceiling. Like,
is this Sistine Chapel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hashtag 16.
Hashtag Sistine.
we can actually try on Zoom to do that. Like we can touch each other like that. Yes. So lean lower, like in the middle, exactly in the middle of your screen. Yeah, there. My finger is being eaten by the sky. Corey has to do it.
You have to have fat fingers.
Other side, Lynn. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
What are we doing?
There, we are doing 16th chapel. Come on, dude. We're doing
I can't see I took my image off.
Oh no, it's okay.
There we go now.
It's an...
I think we need better coordination.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Damn it.
So yeah, so back to the giving up. He's putting a condition on it, right? So he's saying you need to show me because I'm not going to go there myself.
Yeah. What do you think, Agent?
I don't know. When I think of angels, and I'm calling angels, I'm calling you angels. It sounds like he's trying to like rally the troops kind of thing. Like, don't give up if I'm going to get, like, I don't know what he means by that. You know what I mean? Obviously he's like, it's weird because he's obviously suffering some kind of crisis, but he's bolstering the angels. You know what I mean? Like, you think that the angels would be lifting him up, right? Like, but he's saying, if you don't give up. So like, who are the angels, right?
How do you see him bolstering them? Like,
I won't give up if you don't give up. I'm going to hang in there if you hang.
Yeah, but no, yeah, but the condition is on the if, right? So he's not going to hang in there. Like only if they're going to hang in there, he's going to hang in there.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I understood it like Corey did. Oh, sorry, Agent.
That's part of the gimmick. The part of the gimmick is that people always blow my cover.
So it's interesting because maybe there's a different interpretation for what angels are, right? I can also see him going through his Rolodex and calling all the women in his life. It's like,
oh, that's
hello?
interesting. Yeah, like an angel, definitely. Yeah, hey, angel.
Like I'm at the end of my rope. I need some love here, please.
I have to know why
Give up on
Nodrik
me.
suddenly started laughing there. Something was
Because
alive.
he calls all of them angels because he doesn't remember their names. He's like Angel 1, Angel from that place, Angel from that place. Like he calls them by the place. And they're like red heart angel.
That was really funny. That was so funny.
Yeah, and then his world shakes from the words that they say. Is like, ooh.
So he put in a blame on them. Like that's bad words to me.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lynn?
Lynn, are we going out there or what?
I have no idea.
What do you think, Angel?
My cup runneth over. It's like
Angel 69.
It's an inside joke that only angels understand.
Yeah. We're not saying anything, Year 19, summer of love. That's what we're thinking.
yes, summer love.
There's no place where I'm safe from the angels.
Unless they start talking and then the world shakes.
That would be the eyes of God, wouldn't it? The eyes of God? Oh, no.
But you know what? Like, we're kidding around, but that metaphor isn't so far off. If you think God is love, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not so crazy. Like, we're laughing, but like, yeah, like.
That's what he meant. And then imagine like 50 of them show up behind his door. Like, you called us. Okay. I need a sign to let me know you're here. Because my TV set, called it, just keeps it all from being clear. That's the line we will analyze. What do you guys think?
Well, it's like looking for a sign. So that would mean relevance realization, or what is something that I can hold on to with faith. Or I can go into apocalypse theory and go into the sign. What is it? That Revelation book, the signs are lies, that don't believe a sign. When there's a sign on the thing, don't believe it. I don't know. That's the apocalypse, Revelation stuff of signs, don't believe them, they're lies. Or that would be the opposite of that, would be trying to find relevance in meaning. So referring to the meaning crisis. So, and television set again, blue church. Keeps it all from being clear. That means that propaganda is everywhere. I mean, how do we know what is true and not? And how do we sense make in that world? So I guess that would be the mega. The personal would be trying to find God within me. So it would be in prayer mode. So it would be praying for hope, praying for God's grace, God's grace and protection, right? And that everything will be good. So you don't know what the future is going to be, and you don't know if your loved ones are going to be okay, but you pray to God that there is hope that they will be. So that's what that all brings up, two different things.
It's like you're reading my mind, Lynn. Like I was thinking a lot of that stuff. So that's very impressive.
Yeah, so he's repeating that he needs a sign, right? So just, you can say it's a prayer, right? It's an invocation. But I don't get a sense that he knows what the sign is. Like I don't get a feeling that he has the ability to recognize the sign if it's in front of him. And yeah, like Lynn, with the relevance realization, right? Like what's the relevant sign? And then if you use that to look at the TV, keeping it from being clear, right? Like if you're just sitting behind the TV and just absorbing information, and it doesn't even have to be bad, but just a distraction, right? And all the information, and you need to process it all. And it's like, how do you see the sign? Like there's no clarity there. Like you just sucked into some narrative, and yeah, you have to get out of that.
Makes me think about people who are relying on the news to see the full picture of the outside world, but the news would only show things that are clickbaity, kind of, right? The truth is, our world is doing better. The level of poverty is decreasing. The quality of life is rising. It's becoming better and better, but the news keep showing different kind of picture, right? And people are drowning in like their ground is shaking in received information. And so yeah, I do feel the sense that he's like, is there anything beyond the news I receive from TV? Because like it just clutters my judgment. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I thought that was really good. I wonder, like, it looked like one. Anyways, I need a hand to help build up some kind of hope inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a cry for an existential hand, like the cry of faith? Or is it just kind of like someone to show me what the truth is? Or whose hand?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. We got to read the next two lyrics. I want a reason for the way things have to be. I need a hand to help build up some kind of hope inside of me.
Yes.
I want a reason for the way things have to be.
So that's grounding.
Or is it resentment?
Why resentment, Lynn?
I need a reason.
I
It's
also
like,
felt
I don't know.
like that.
It's like anger. Give me a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Yeah, all this confusion and tornado and all this bullshit on the television.
Yeah. Like, why is there suffering in the world? You know, why? You know, maybe an existential crisis, or maybe just a real crisis for the world. Like, you know, or even someone's just in a bad place. Like, why me? Why does this have to happen? You know, or why do bad things happen to good people, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but I want to put it a little bit down because he wants a reason, right? And if it's negative, that means that the reason has to be provided to him from the outside, right? Because if there's a resentment, the resentment is around not having been given the reason.
Do you think, Manuel, that there is a reason? Like, I want a reason for the way things have to be. I need a hand to help build up some kind of Because he wants hope. He wants a reason to believe in the positive, to affirm the good.
Well, first of all, reasons are problematic, right? Because they're connected to a goal, right? So what's the goal, right? Like, what's the value that you're pursuing? Because and maybe that's what he's looking for, right? Like, what's the value that I should be orienting towards, right? Because the value is where the hope is coming from in some sense.
And when you say values too, it says my TV set keeps it from all being clear. Like the media is trying to sell you a thing. You can even look at like from materialism perspective, right? Like materialistic values. This commercials on television encourage you to buy things to be happy, right? And I want a reason for, and maybe this is like a more authentic reason.
Right. I agree, and I need a hand to help, right? So I guess that's also answering the question about resentment, right? Like, but it's an appeal for help. So I don't feel the resentment in there, right? Like it's an honest cry. There's humility in there. I don't think it's coming from a place of arrogance.
How does that land for people?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it sounds like cry for help. Like he's lost, his ground is shaking, everywhere is bad news. Angels do not answer the call, and he's asking for a sign, right? Because he cannot deal with the thing on his own. Like he wants some kind of outside affirmation that there is that life makes sense, that all of the horrible things make sense, right?
I think the TV is representative of society, right? So I think he lost trust in society providing him with the reason, and he needs a different source of the reason.
Yeah, I can imagine him going through channels and crashing into reality shows and seeing all those weird people, then going into a show where like crime shows, and there's like, that is malevolence. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the commercials were also a big thing, because this is from the 90s, right? So in the 90s, commercials were like, oh, manipulation this. Or...
There was lots of stuff about the media too then. When children have to play inside so they don't disappear, while private eyes solve marriage lies because we don't talk for years.
Wow.
You know what this reminds me of is empty playgrounds. When I was a kid, the playgrounds always had kids at it. And I remember I was with my nieces and they wanted to go to the playground. They're like, we can't go to the playground because Uncle's not here. We need Uncle to go to the playground because. And then someone else said, a millennial friend of mine said, well, this because you can't have your children playing by themselves at the playground because someone will call the ministry on them or something, right?
Oh. Yeah. I think this is the fear again from the TV set that comes because they show a program about the child being abducted. So all the parents will just like protect their children too much. And they will be like, we don't want you to be abducted, so you don't have to go outside at all. Like you have to be inside all the time. So they would like, children will have less time spent socializing on a playground.
Yeah, I think it's a reflection on the satanic scare. I think that happened in the 80s, where this idea of children being abused by Satanists was really prevalent, and there was a really overreaction, at least in the American society.
Yeah, we were certainly terrorized.
Never heard of that.
We were terrorized in the 90s about that. I mean, and it scared it scared everybody, the culture, into helicopter parenting. And I vividly remember living through the satanic fear and that whole cult thing. And it was really a strange time to live. Corey, do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I do. There's something that kind of intrigued me for a second. While private eyes solve marriage lies, because we don't talk for years. I remember my generation was the last generation that probably played in parks and stuff like that. But we were also latchkey kids. And I don't know if it's the same for you guys in Europe, but that was the era when all of a sudden both parents had to work, and you're given your little key, and you go home and hang out at your house by yourself while parents are away, at work, right? Does that map for you, Lynn?
Oh yeah, that's exactly the culture. That's I was one too. So then I guess it was an optimal time for those serial killers. So this was before cell phones. So now we have cell phones that would trace everybody. But before that, we didn't have that. So we didn't have cell phones, and it would be an optimal time for those malevolent souls that walk along the earth. And so it brings up so much. It's like overcoming that humanity, seeing the negative in humanity versus seeing the positive in humanity. I think it's different for us generationally. So anyway, that was.
No, it was excellent. Well, I think when he says while private eyes solve marriage lies, because we don't talk for years, he's saying you should hire those guys to guard your children. Like that's the solution he actually made in here. That's what it seems to me. Like you have to talk to each other and hire your private eyes to look after your kids if you don't want to look after them yourselves. And I grew up in Ukraine. This means like I was outside all the time. We hung out in playgrounds, and the parents would just roll the dice. Like, we cannot look after you, and you cannot stay inside. We will just not helicopter parent you.
So how was your experience, Manuel? Like you guys obviously didn't have the latchkey kid thing, maybe, I don't know. In Europe, did you play lots in playgrounds and stuff when you were a kid?
Well, I was always outside doing stuff. Well, at least after I was 6. We did have what do you call it? Daycare. So
yeah.
I had some of that. But
see, daycare changed. Like we had the latchkey kid thing, and then the latchkey kid thing stopped because you had a lot of people who became single parents, which reminds me of the private eyes. And then as a result, and all of a sudden now kids are always in daycares. But when me and Lynn were kids in North America, you weren't in daycares. You just had your key and you went home by yourself and locked the door or play in the park or whatever, right? And then your parents would just be at work and call.
Like we did have a local, so we were just like warned. Okay, there is this guy who offers kids candy. Just like don't. Like depends how much you want candy, but like the parents will just literally warn us about it. It's like, okay, you play outside, just like when this guy come out, like you have to be aware why he offers you candy and go at his place.
That is incredible to have a community protect you like that, because we didn't have that information. We didn't have that guidance. I didn't. I'll speak for me. I never had that guidance. It was like you were on your own, and there was no instructional pattern about identifying. We used each other, so I would get information from my friends, and those and then maybe some parents of a friend that would give me the right information. So it's just amazing that you had an amazing community. You were very lucky to have amazing community to that would protect you like that. So
Yeah, like it was kind of well known whom not to trust, and the kids like were adopted to that, like in a sense.
So
Yeah.
I cut off Manuel. I would like to hear about his experience because I cut him off.
I actually remember a story that I would like Manuel to share. It's when Manuel just like went into flight balloon of a stranger. We were like, wow. So can you please share that story? I love that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, so yeah, it wasn't just a stranger, right? Because like it's not just I'm this pedophile and I'm gonna like launch this balloon in the middle of a city somewhere. It's like so they were connected to a company, but yeah, like they were trying to launch this balloon and then like the wind was too strong or there was something wrong and I didn't launch it. And then they had to like fold the balloon and like they need to get the air out. So with a bunch of kids, we helped, and they said, "Well, if you help tomorrow, you can come along." So the next day, like I was the only kid that showed up, and I'm like they were almost like lifting in the air, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, like you told me that I could come along," and he's like, "Okay, hop in." So I just hopped in and I got this air balloon ride for free.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah,
story.
so then I ended up like somewhere in a strange place with some people I didn't know.
Yeah, because a balloon drifts along and just kind of lands wherever, doesn't it? Like waits for the right field to, and they had to have a car follow it. Yeah, I remember balloon. It was kind of like a '70s thing, lots of balloons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
so
how children traveled off Netherlands. Yeah, they got air balloons of strangers.
that's how you get across the dikes. So it's like so yeah, like I keep looking at this stupid second line of this verse, and it's like, what does it mean? Private eyes solve marriage lies. Like it doesn't make sense to me at all. Like
Well, do you know the slang for private eyes detective? And do you guys not have that? So
I
you
know
hire a
that for me
detective.
it's like really clear. Like I get the line full and full.
Like you think you're not talking to your wife or your husband, and you want to find out if they're cheating on you, so you hire a detective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know what private eye is? It's a detective. Like so, marriage lies because we don't talk for years. So when two people are being married and they don't talk for years, a husband, instead of asking his wife, or wife instead of asking her husband, how you doing, like what is going on in your life, like instead of actually connecting, they would hire some outside detective to see if the guy is cheating on her, like instead of like asking, so like, listen, are you cheating on me, like in that way. It's very clear.
So that's pointing out the lack of intimacy, but also the lack of trust between people, right? Like there's no ability to rely on the people that you should be able to rely on.
Oh, sometimes they hire private eye so that they can feel less guilty about themselves. So it's okay. Like there are reasons.
Well, yeah, strange way of saying it's okay, but
very common. Okay, let's say it's maybe not okay, but it's really common.
Yeah, I guess, guys, if you want to start a business.
I guess also if you want to get the better part of a divorce deal, you'd hire a private eye to get some pictures or something and say, look what they did.
I don't know.
Yeah, this means like do not. Yeah, doesn't matter. Sorry.
And football teams are kissing queens and losing sight of having dreams. In a world that what we want is only what we want until it's ours.
Lynn?
Well, I have to go to the last line because I'm not sure about the football teams and all that stuff. But in a world that what we want is what we want until it's ours, it's that I'm going to get what I want, and that's what I want. There's no room for looking outside yourself or looking up to angels or looking up for salvation or for help or for signs. It's like, it's black and white. I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to take what I want, and it's all mine. So that's what that brings up.
I even see darker than that, Lynn. So it's like, until we get a thing, we want a thing until we get it. The moment we get it, we don't value it.
Yeah.
We losing sight of having dreams in a world that we want only what we want until, like that word, until, right? So the moment we want it, it's our dream. But the moment we get it, we don't value it for nothing. So it even comes back to me to children, to private eyes, and football teams kissing queens. I guess they're kissing the British pound because football is a British football, I guess. It's like soccer.
Oh, I never thought of that. I didn't know if Queens was royalty or if it was pejorative for
no, I think it's
homosexual.
queens were actually British pound. Like, that's how I read it. Like, the moment is like football teams are kissing, like they're doing their stuff for money.
But also there's American football versus European football. So
do you have queens on any of your currency? I guess not.
no, but Queens is slang for being gay, right? Like someone that is.
That's not. I don't believe it's what he means. I actually believe
it's capital
queens is
Q.
currency. Like it's.
Sorry, Manuel.
It's
Sorry,
capital Q, queen, right? It's not queen with a lowercase.
Mm-hmm.
So that means
queens.
It's
The queen would be on a British pound. Like I think it's
Or
money.
is it playing cards? You know, like a
Oh,
queen, a king,
yeah.
a queen, a jack.
Maybe.
You know, an ace. Like playing
Football
cards.
teams. Although football teams are playing, like there is a rumor that football teams, however they set up their football matches, there is a lot of gambling going on, and sometimes it's set up like team has to be paid to lose, and so they even if they dream to win, the love for currency, for money, is bigger than the desire to play football. I think that's what he thinks, like what he alludes in that song. Like,
you know, also I can think of like Queens is in women like seeking like
a gold
the popularity of fame and the popularity of fame and stardom, right?
I would never call a gold digger a queen. A gold digger is a gold digger. Queen is some sort of alpha. Like that's not a gold digger.
So let me draw this together, right? So you have the children that play, right? So there's a lack of innocence, right? A lack of freedom, right? Because they have to play inside. And then the marriage thing, it's a lack of trust. And then the football dreams going for money is a lack of aspiration, right? Like we're no longer striving for the higher thing. And then the last one is, well, like we don't have a sense of ideals anymore, right? Like the things that we're grasping for, they're tangible, right? Like they're idols. and when we get the idol, we can see what it is for what it truly is, and then we see how we've been deluded by them.
I think that's spot on, Manuel. The one thing that I'm curious about in a world that what we want, because she uses the word ours. So are they talking about the couple? Like throughout this, there seems to be a relationship, right? So he doesn't say mine or yours.
I think he means not valuing the things that we have. Like remember how like about the news that our society is getting better, the level of poverty is going down. More and more people have higher standards of living. Like more and more people have a dishwasher, let's say, at home, right? Like, or a washing machine. And us whereby like 25 years ago, they would not even dream of it. They would be like so poor they could not afford it. So in a world where we want until it's ours. So the moment we get that washing machine, let's say, we just, yeah, there is no other dream. I think he talks about lack of gratitude here, lack of gratitude for what we actually received. And there I kind of see hope, because we get this fear mongering from the news. And if we would receive other news, like there is lower mortality rate, there are people who helped others in crisis, there are actually like those good news, let's say. I remember Jordan on Twitter he had a phase where he would every day tweet something out of Good News Society or something, right? Like he would every day like good news, here is good news. And this thing is lacking, appreciation for a good, for good that we have in our lives. I don't know, I think it's gratitude.
So you think of ours as societal, not as in a couple. This stands as not like a relationship, but even when he talks about children and private eyes and marriage, that's a metaphor for the greater society as a whole.
Yeah, so if you look at the structure of the song, it's like, first he says, I need this thing, right? Like, so he's looking at his personal whole, right? And then he goes at the sign and how the world is blocking his connection, right? And then in the end, right, like in this verse, he's saying, well, this is what I cannot connect to, right? Like this is what I see in the world, and this is what we as a society are doing.
I guess it would be careful what you pray for, and taking advantage, not appreciating what you have, and there are people out there that are only looking for the money, not for the art. And if you fall, and if you fall into that trap of looking for the money, not the art, or not the soul, then careful what you pray for, because I think there may not be much value in that. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Like the true victory because of your art and football is bigger than losing on purpose in order to kiss a queen. And actually, like kissing a queen is a currency with a queen on it. Okay, guys, I think we can bring it up for a conclusion. Manuel, any summary you have?
Yeah, well, like the thing that I'm still wrestling with, what is he looking for, right? Like the sign and the angels, right? And I do get the sense that these angels have to be embodied in other people. So he has to see the sign in other people where they're not doing the list that we just read, right? Like they're living their lives a different way, and they provide him the inspiration to keep going. Like I think that's where the answer lies.
I still kind of like see him like he's calling all angels, and if I hold on, I can't remember the line. We don't have it up at this moment, but if you hold on, I'll hold on. I still really see that as a call to the greater good, to greater society, to like hang in there and to like persevere.
So I think if there was a sign, how would it be recognized? If there was a sign of angels, how would it be recognized? I guess would be my question that I'm left with is, so recognizing the good and having the capacity to recognize the good. And if I see the good in you, Corey and Kara, and I'm sorry, Agent 69. Cara.
There's no number
and,
beside my name right now.
and Ironroot. And Ironroot. I mean, sorry, Manuel. So seeing the good in others, I guess that would be who we are communing with right now. So seeing the good in you.
Yeah, it was a great song, Lynn. That was really good. Yeah.
Amazing choice. I love it. And
I thought it perhaps it'd give you hope, Cara, for your family.
it
So
does.
they're in my prayers. They're in my prayers. Hi,
Thank you
Mom.
so much.
Hi, sister.
And grandmother and grandmother.
Hi, Grandma. Grandma.
Hi, Grandma. I hope the chickens are well.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I do believe that this song is hopeful. In a sense, he did not give up. He's riling up the angels, and he's looking for an answer. And good news, if you're able to formulate an answer in the problem, you will get an answer sooner or later. So like there is no way you will be living without an answer. The answer will come. And here he has a lot of questions raised, and he will receive his answer, or he received by now, I guess. Okay, guys, Agent, Lynn, Manuel, thank you all for participating. Thank you for free time that you all had, and that also sponsors our podcast. Please, everyone, subscribe to channel of Manuel, where he has really interesting podcast and meets a lot.
Oh, yes. Check out agapic orientation. And what was the other one? Navigating patterns as well.
Yes, and navigating patterns as well. Okay,
And
guys.
we have an extra sponsor this week, or this episode.
Oh.
It's Synchronicity.
Yes, thank you, Lynn, for bringing up synchronicity, and thank you.
Oh, Christmas! I have to bring up Christmas. If we're going to say synchronicity, I have to say Merry Christmas.
Yay! Merry Christmas to you all, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, there's chord progression I had. Oh, I forgot.